Hello, California, and welcome to this week's edition of Your Financial Compass, the show dedicated to helping you successfully navigate to and through your retirement. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio are two members from Bulman Wealth Group. We have the founder and financial advisor, Chris Bulman, and financial advisor, Scott Bulman. We're so glad that you're joining us today. We are going to be talking about navigating the hidden costs of your Social Security benefit. So much to get into here today. And so, guys, let's just get going, shall we?
Before we do, let's talk about something you told us before the show. One of the highlights of your life, it sounded like, goat yoga, which is, I didn't know was a real thing. Kristen said she went to goat yoga. And I was enamored.
Yeah, this was years ago. So this
was 2 weeks ago, yeah.
No. It was in 2019. I remember that because it was before COVID hit. But yes, it was really fun. I love animals, so I just love to be around any kind of animal.
It's probably a therapeutic sort of way.
It is.
While you were doing a pose and there's a goat on your back,
yes, I had to show the
sounds
picture.
very therapeutic.
They just let baby goats run around you while you work out.
That's like our office. You walk in, there's baby goats running around, kids,
Not
everything.
so much.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, yes, it was a lot of fun. So
Wonderful.
for inquiring minds that want to know, I highly recommend it if you're an animal lover.
Okay.
So to jump into Social Security, that's a great segue.
Yeah. Perfect segue, yeah.
You know, Scott and I, over the years, we've always sort of avoided Social Security as a seminar or a workshop. We do these all the time. But it's one of the things that people are most concerned about. Even though Social Security was originally invented or created to be a portion of a retirement income, not to be your whole retirement income.
Right.
But whether you're worth $1 million or $5 million or 100 or 500,000, Social Security is always important to people. And part of the reason is you paid into it your whole life.
So
yes.
So you want to make sure that you get something back from it.
Right.
And so it's important to understand how you can get paid, how you can get your Social Security, what age you should take it. What are the different conditions you can take it? 62 will be less than 70. Why might you want to take it at 62? Why maybe you should wait till 70 or 67? Are you married? Are you single? Do you have other income? Are you still working? Are you retired? Lots of different things that go into Social Security.
Well, and I think to your point, you know, a lot of financial advisors do shy away from the Social Security conversation. I've even heard folks will go to their existing advisor and say, hey, can you help me with this? And the response that they often get is, oh, we don't do that here. Or, no, you need to go consult the Social Security Administration. But here's the problem with that. The Social Security Administration is only allowed to give you information. They are not allowed to give you individualized, personalized advice based on your unique situation. And to your point, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Social Security is still an important piece of your overall financial plan, especially of the income portion of that plan. And one of the things that a lot of folks aren't aware of is the taxation on Social Security. Because when Social Security was first created, we were told what? It was never going to be taxed, right?
Right.
And now, surprise, fast forward, it could be that up to 85% of your Social Security benefit could be subject to taxation. So we need to talk about that today. That's why we're calling this the navigating the hidden costs.
Yeah. Oh, I think, as you said, probably more people than not, when I bring up the taxation with Social Security, are surprised because they don't understand. Like, I've been paying on this taxed on this for years. Now they're going to tax me again. It's kind of a double whammy. And there's so many little tiny nuances in terms of how it's going to be taxed. So let's give an example. Say there's a married couple and they're earning between $32,000 and $44,000 a year. So not a lot in retirement.
Yep.
If they're in that range, 50% of their Social Security benefit will be taxed. If you're over $44,000, as you said, 85% of it will be taxed, meaning you're getting $2,000 a month in Social Security, 85% of that will be taxed as regular income. It's not an 85% tax rate.
Right.
85% of it will be taxed as income.
At your rate.
At your rate. But how do they get that calculation in terms of, say, if you're over $44,000? They take your adjusted gross income, they take any non-taxable interest, and half of your Social Security benefit counts towards that. So if you're making, say you and your spouse are making $40,000 a year in Social Security benefits, $20,000 of that, so half of it, counts towards that $44,000 calculation.
It just seems so unfair.
It is, and it's a number. It's been $44,000 for a long time. Yes. They've never changed it.
They've never adjusted that number for inflation either.
However they, in a back room somewhere over drinks, how they came up with that number and never adjusted it. It's mind blowing to me. So it's For the majority of our clients, if not all of them, all of their Social Security benefit will be taxed, or 85%. They'll be at that 85%.
Right, at that level.
And it's just a head scratcher.
So how do you help folks navigate this hidden cost? I mean, how do you help them plan for it to help mitigate as much of the tax liability as possible?
Well, I think just education, understanding how Social Security works, how it gets taxed, why, and the difference between taking Social Security maybe at age 62 versus age 70, and every year in between. Your Social Security paycheck would get larger and larger every year if you don't take it.
Right.
It gets larger if you do take it as well through COLA, cost of living adjustments sometimes. But it can also increase, it will increase every year that you wait, you delayed it, taking it. For example, if you take it at age 62, let's say you have an average income of $2,500 coming in from Social Security, and you take it, if you take it at 62, had you waited until 70, maybe it was going to be $4,000. But if you wait, if you take it at 62, you will have gotten about $278,000 of income by age 70, versus had you waited till age 70, you haven't had a dollar yet.
Right.
So then your income will be much higher though had you waited. So it's about a 9-year break even, 8 to 9 years from age 70 to 78, 79. Now you've caught up. If you waited till 70 and you took it, now you've gotten just as much income as if you'd taken it at 62. But every year after, your income's far higher. So a lot of times the decision to take Social Security can just depend on how long you think you're going to live.
Right.
Do you have a spouse that needs to get your Social Security? Those are a lot of the different, and those are just two. A lot of different things we need to talk about to determine when you should take your Social Security.
Yeah, well, and there's over 567 different mathematical calculations and combinations of when you can claim Social Security. But to your point,
And we know
there's
them
so
all,
many.
for the record.
There's so many personal factors that far outweigh the math. But this is why you provide software. When folks come in to meet with you, you are able to run these different scenarios to see what would in fact be in their best interest, right?
Well, it's all part of a bigger plan. Like when we're running a full financial plan, that's obviously one of the streams of income. One thing we need to factor in is that Social Security. But we can run different simulations of, if you take it at this age versus this age, what is the long-term economic impact? How much more money will you make over time by doing one thing over another? Or as Chris said, if health is working against you or you don't have longevity in your family, those are as factors as well, but sometimes it helps to see the mathematics of it. It's like, if you just wait a couple of years, you're gonna make an extra $50,000 over your lifetime. Well, that might influence your decision. So all of these things, you don't have to know all 567, because we don't know them all, but it's just a matter of what works for your situation and having the numbers tell the story. And a lot of times that's one of the things we're gonna do when we have a conversation. Call the number below, scan the QR code, and we'll answer those questions, and we get it a lot of, when should I take it? Is it going to be taxed? What does it mean? Is it going to go away? We get that all the time. I don't think it is. I think it's going to have to change. But the point is, all these questions and more, you can ask us, set up a conversation, and see where that fits within, we call it our financial compass review. We can see what that means in your situation.
Yeah, and I would say whether you are 100% dependent on that Social Security income or whether it's just additional income. In other words, a lot of my clients that are $2 million or more invested with us are as concerned or more about when they should take Social Security as someone who completely depends on Social Security as their primary income source. So wherever you fall in that, whether you have 500,000, 2 million, 5 million, Social Security is really important to people. And it's just the fact that you paid into it all these years. You want to make sure that you get the maximum return from it.
And we've said this before, the two things we get questions about a lot, Social Security and taxes. As we've said, Social Security will be taxed. Right. And we actually have a tool on our site that you can go to and start to plug the numbers in to see, was it BulmanTaxBill.com, as you see below, and you can start to put these numbers in and kind of move sliders and see how that'll affect you, and we can kind of bundle them together. Like, man, I'm concerned about Social Security and taxes. Well, we have these resources on our website, so you can click the link below. It's going to give you a report and hopefully answer some questions as well.
Yeah, it's such a good starting point. We're going to dive more deeply into what that tool will offer you when we come back, but go ahead and check it out during the break. Again, BulmanTaxBill.com, or you can scan that QR code. That will take you over to the tax retirement tax calculator that the team of Bulman Wealth Group have put together for you. This used to be available only to their clients, but we are extending it completely complimentary to you, the viewers. We encourage you to use it. Reach out and get the help that you need from that tax standpoint so that you can make sure that you take the steps you need to even now to start lowering your potential tax liability in retirement. And as Scott said, we also invite you to pick up the phone and call to schedule your very own complimentary financial compass review. 888-970-4685 is the number to call, or you're welcome to take out your smartphone. You can open up the camera app and just point, click, and scan that QR code in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. That will take you to a landing page, ask you a few short, simple questions, and then a member of the team from Bulman Wealth Group will reach out to connect with you to schedule your complimentary meeting that way as well. We'll be back with more on this important conversation regarding navigating the hidden costs of your Social Security benefit right after this.
I became a financial advisor coming out of the tough times of the tech bubble in the late 90s, early 2000s. Moved to California, uprooted my life, changed everything, and then 9/11 happened the first week in this industry. I was prepared already to help people from tough times coming out of the tech bubble, but what we didn't expect is there were 3 years in a row when I started of the market dropping. That really impacted my whole career. It crafted and created how we manage money. We don't want our clients to ever lose like that. And so everything we do is built on protection. The goal of our practice and the people that we meet with is to remove the fear and uncertainty that we all face, and it goes back to those first years in the market.
I was a sportscaster on television. I grew up in Flint, Michigan. In TV, you bounce around, and went to Mississippi and worked at the NBC station there and covered, college football's big, NFL's big, all that stuff. And a guy I knew relatively well in a different state decided to get out of TV, and in this opportunity I always enjoyed finance and money, and it seemed really exciting. I like to communicate to folks and feel like I can communicate well. It was such a fresh, kind of different career than what I was used to that it was exciting.
We go into every meeting with no place to get. We're there to meet with you, to discover your needs, find out where you are at that point, and how we can help you build and craft that plan for the future.
Welcome back to Your Financial Compass. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, here with both Chris and Scott from Bulman Wealth Group. And we are talking today about navigating the hidden costs of your Social Security benefit. As we've already said on this show today, no matter how much money you have, Social Security is important to you. You've paid into that system all those years. You want to make sure that you are optimizing your benefits. And here's what's interesting. There's a lot of talk out there about maximizing your Social Security benefit. As you already shared, obviously waiting till age 70, that's the easy answer of how you maximize. But really the conversation needs to center around how you optimize your benefits for yourself. So why don't we just break it down for folks and go through some of the common key ages and helping people understand what are the key things to know when you're trying to decide when is the optimal time for me to claim my Social Security benefit?
Yeah, I'll start by, I'm going to get into the numbers, but it depends on how healthy you are in your family longevity history as well. Because if you think you're not going to live past age 72, we probably shouldn't delay until age 70 to take Social Security.
Right.
If you have a history in your family of not living past age 78, 79, you may want to take it sooner. So if you take it at age 62, you're going to get about a 30% total reduction of if you had waited till full retirement age of 67, if we just use that full retirement age. By the same math, after age 67, though, you get 8% increase per year until age 70. So that's a 24% simple, but even more than 24% when we factor, it's a compound growth, 8%. So when you look at that 24% increase, maybe we want to wait till age 70 because that will give us about $250,000 over our lifetime if we live into our 90s or 100. Additional income from Social Security. But again, if we don't know if we're going to live past 75 or 72, maybe we want to take it at 62, 63. It's a big question, a big decision to make, which I think the best way to make those decisions is just knowing all the answers to the different questions you have, and you'll never know the perfect time to take it until
you don't know when
die.
you're going to die.
Right. I was going to say, if we all knew the day we were going to die, this conversation would be very easy, but we don't know that.
And on paper, as you said earlier, it always looks the best at age 70. That's where the benefit hits its ceiling. Here's the thing, that no one waits. 5 to 10, the studies say 5 to 10% of people wait to 70. So really no one's waiting that long. I mean, very few people are waiting that long. So I know it looks cool. Oh my gosh, a higher benefit. But at the end of the day, say you retire at 65, I'm going to wait. Every day that you wait, you're like, man, there's some money out there that I paid into for all these years. I want to start getting it. I think that tug to start pulling it in. But as Chris said, it's all part of maneuvering the different scenarios, looking at them, and then just making a decision and sticking with it. Because once the horse is out of the barn, it is what it is. So we can sit and agonize, oh man, I should have waited another month. Well, I mean, you went with all the information we had and we made our best educated decision, and you live with it from there.
Right. Well, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, a lot of people do a lot of math on this, and we're happy to do the math with you. But in my example earlier, I said if you're going to get $2,500 a month at age 62, by age 70, you would have already had $278,000. And a lot of people come and say, well, we don't need the money, but what if we go ahead and take it and invest it along the way? What would that be worth? And I think that's worth serious
Right, because there's an
consideration.
opportunity cost
Yeah,
there, right?
because absolutely, there's
Right.
always going to be a cost, whether it's actual cost or opportunity cost.
Yeah.
And it's important to do the math on that and see. Some people are more simplistic than that. They just want their income. They want it now. And I don't think that you should be ashamed of that either. So for people who want more information to try to make the perfect decision, let's look at that. For people who just say, I want the income now, I don't trust the government, and I don't trust my health, so I want the income, then that's fine
that's a
too.
good
There's no
reason.
perfect answer.
Well, let me add another variable into the equation, because for married couples, it is so important to make sure that you are planning in conjunction with each other. And here's what I mean. When one spouse passes away, you're going to lose one of the two Social Security checks. However, you're going to get to keep the higher of the two checks. So a good strategy might be, usually typically one spouse has a higher Social Security benefit than the other because of different work histories and whatnot. So maybe the spouse with the smaller benefit goes ahead and claims earlier, and they allow the larger benefit to continue to grow till age 70 if they don't need that money, because then when one spouse passes away, they're going to be able to keep the higher of the two. So a lot goes into it.
It's a strategy worth looking into. We've done it a lot, but it's in the context of everything else. Do you have the means to cover what you would be missing by not taking that spouse's Social Security amount? If we can fix it in a way that you can, well, absolutely, you consider waiting, because there's very few things that in the financial realm that have that guaranteed increase. Social Security is one of them. So that's one of the strategies worth looking into, and certainly there's others, but a lot of folks have taken advantage of that. There used to be a lot more things you could do that they got rid of.
Right.
Yeah, there were a lot more options that were beneficial, but that's probably also why Social Security is going broke, along with the fact that our Congress, Senate keeps robbing it to pay other bills.
Right.
But when we talk about some of these facts, some of them are like shiny objects. Like, it's the only investment that you can guarantee it's going to have 8% growth.
Right.
But it's also the only one that nobody gets if you die, right? So if you had a stock account that invested or grew at 8% per year, but it was gone once you died, you'd probably think differently about that as well. So there's so much to think about. There's no, again,
Meaning
going
beyond
back
your
to,
spouse, nobody gets it. Like your kids don't get it.
Exactly.
Or heirs, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like politics. It's like sports teams. People can sit and just, I hate the Chiefs. The refs are on their side, and I'm a Chiefs fan.
Yeah, I was
the
gonna
refs
say,
are
look
on their
who's
side.
considered the source.
Or you're a Raiders fan. God help you. But you can sway people, and you just love your sports team, or you just love your political team, whether you're Republican or Democrat. And there's no perfect answer with any of those, by the way, or Social Security as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one last thing I think it's also important to bring up, because I've seen this pitfall happen a lot for folks, is they will go ahead and claim Social Security prior to their full retirement age, and yet they're still working. Talk about why that's a pitfall.
That's one that you have to understand the income parameters of it. So trying to boil it down to a minute explanation. So let's say someone's full retirement age is 67. That means that's the age where you get 100% of your benefit. However, if you're still working, earning income prior to that age, say you're 65 and you're like, well, I'm earning $100,000 a year and I want to start Social Security. Well, the number I think is $22,230.
Right.
Meaning if you earn more than that
In a year,
which you probably do, 50% of your Social Security benefit is going to be penalized. So if we could sum it down into one phrase, if you're still working, you're not full retirement age, it probably doesn't make sense to start.
no.
receiving your
Because
benefit.
there's things called givebacks, and for every $2 over that measly $22,000 and change amount, you're going to have to give $1 of your benefit back. In fact, they actually withhold it from you. So a lot of people don't even realize they're being penalized, but that's the problem. So again, a lot of personal factors really can far outweigh the math.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it's just important for any big decision to bounce it off someone who does this every day. And you can call the number below, 888-970-4685, or click on the QR code. And we would love to just talk to you, bounce off, let you bounce your ideas off of us, and we can
Or
share
bounce
with
off
you,
you.
sort of,
some of
as
us.
Jimmy Buffett used to say, keep it between the navigational beacons.
Yes.
We can kind of share with you what those beacons are and what you need to be thinking about to make your decision.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good way to put it. Keep it through those navigational buoys, right?
Yeah,
For sure. Well, again, you don't have to go it alone. We know that this is a huge decision, and it's an important one. It affects you. It can affect your spouse. It's so important to understand the ins and outs, but you don't have to go it alone. This is something that the team of Bulman Wealth Group does each and every day, and they would love to be able to help and serve you. So to claim your complimentary financial compass review, and of course, as part of that, you're going to be able to receive your very own Social Security optimization report and analysis. We invite you to call the number on the bottom of your screen, 888-970-4685, or again, scan that QR code and that will get you connected. We'll be back with more right after this.
Successful retirement to me is someone who doesn't have to worry about where their next paycheck's going to come from, where the income's going to come from. Are they going to run out of income? Are they going to run out of money? Are they going to meet their financial goals with respect to maybe they want to leave money to their children? Maybe they want to leave money to a philanthropy or a university.
Being able to wake up and know the day's an open slate and not having to worry about things. Or say someone's going on a trip with family, they're going to the beach, and if the headline says, the market's down again or something, they're not concerned. Bulman Wealth has my back here. We've got a plan in place. My portfolio is set up in a way that concern is not there.
All the pieces fit together like a puzzle. When that all fits together and you can see the peace of mind that gives families, that is a successful retirement.
As Americans, we strive for better, from a better house to a better career to a better life for our kids. Better has become the American way. But when it comes to your retirement, what does better mean to you? More income, a flexible lifestyle, better solutions? A better retirement begins with a plan. To get your complimentary written financial plan, call the number you see here. You only retire once. This is your opportunity to plan for better.
Welcome back to Your Financial Compass, where today we are discussing navigating the hidden costs of your Social Security benefit. If you're just tuning in and joining us, we have been talking about what an important decision this is. There's so many personal factors that come into play to help you determine when is the optimal time for you to claim your Social Security. We've focused a lot today on the taxation of Social Security, which a lot of folks aren't even aware of. So talk about, is it possible to withhold tax from your Social Security check?
Yes, but there's some defined parameters. So two things with taxes. One, like you said, Social Security is taxed on a federal level, not at a state level. I think there's 9 states that do tax on a state level. California, thankfully, is not one of them. They just tax you on everything else. Whole nother story. But you can withhold a certain percentage on a federal level, and there's 4 numbers. It's either 7, 10, 12, or 22%. So you can't go and say, I want 18% withheld, what have you. You have to stick with those parameters. So as we told you earlier, very likely your benefits will be taxed. You can have some withheld just to get out ahead of it, but you only have those certain 4 numbers, 7, 10, 12, or 22% that you can withhold.
Well, there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of confusion out there about the taxation of Social Security. What other things do you find when folks come in to meet with you that they are confused about or that you want to help clarify on today's show?
I mean, the big thing for me, certainly taxation, Scott will speak more to that. But I think just how it fits into your overall income plan. I mean, you can't leave Social Security to your kids. So when you're trying to debate where should I pull income from, should I pull it from my IRA, from my non-qualified accounts, my Roth, 401k, or should I take it from Social Security? Remember that if legacy planning and legacy giving is part of your plan, you can't, this is the one bucket you can't leave behind to your kids. All the other buckets you can. So we want to make sure that we're balancing.
Right, and there's a lot of strategy that goes into
Yeah.
this. As you said, it's an important piece of your overall financial plan. And again, so many personal factors. I used to travel nationwide and present on Social Security, and we get to that chart where we say, okay, do you go ahead and claim at 62 and get a lesser amount? Do you wait until your full retirement age, at which point in time you get 100% of what you're entitled to? Or do you wait until age 70, at which point you get the maximum amount that you could get? And that's the magic question. Everybody wants to know when, and the answer is, it depends. And it depends on your individual situation. So
That and another question we get a lot, at least I do, is like, do you think it's going to be there?
yes,
Like when I need it?
So how do you answer that for folks?
How I answer it, again, this is opinion. I do think it will be there, but I do think they're going to have to make amendments or changes to it. I think my kids are 10 and 7. I could see that, or 10 and 8. I could see them pushing out to, you can't even start till you're 72. I think they're going to push the age out, full retirement age out.
Because we know that it's solvent currently until the year 2033.
I think it's 2033. Yeah, 'cause it
they
just changed.
it.
Every year it's like declining by a year.
Right.
So with insolvency past that point, I think they're going to kick out the age where you can start. I think they might tax it more. I think, payroll taxes might be higher in regards to that for business owners. I think there's a chance you might get a reduced benefit. Again, just speculation, theorizing, but I think if John
Something
Doe
has
is
to
going to get
change.
$3,000 a month, maybe it's going to be $2,700. So those are other things that we have to factor into the plan
Right.
as we're building out an income plan for our clients. Like, maybe we do a worst case scenario where, what if they cut it by 40%? What will that mean? So it's just all these different things, but it's one piece of the puzzle, so
It
to
can't
speak.
be your only income source.
It shouldn't be.
Right.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
for some. Mostly in California, it's not. Otherwise, you're either really struggling or can't live in California. A lot of states you can live in on just Social Security. In California, it'd be very
challenging.
difficult. Very
No, for
challenging.
sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
The cost of gas alone, I mean, it's insane.
Chris always is mad about the cost of hamburgers.
The
in
cheeseburgers.
California.
Yeah.
Cheeseburgers.
Yeah. Well, with 4 boys in the house, right?
Too expensive. It's expensive, yes.
It is. Well, it's always a joy to be here with you, and we hope that you have found this to be helpful. Again, there's so much that goes into this important decision and conversation. If someone's watching out there and going, yeah, I had no idea about some of these things, I really need help putting my plan together, what would you want to say to them?
One of the advisors we work with, Sean, you'll see him on the show sometimes, he always says there's part-time and full-time. We're full-time in this because it's our job. 99% of people are part-time because they have their own jobs. They're part-time with their finances. You don't have to know everything. So give yourself some grace. There's no dumb questions. You can call the number below. You can visit our website, click the QR code, and just ask us those dumb questions. We'll be happy to answer them. A lot of us have the same concerns. We've dealt with it in other situations. So let's just start with a conversation.
Yeah, and I would just add, if you have really smart questions, ask for me. Dumber questions, go to Scott. So, just kidding.
Is this plugged in?
Never a
Is this
dull
plugged in?
moment with these
No.
two. Thank you so much for being here this weekend. We appreciate
chair
you,
to sink.
and we'll see you next time here on Your Financial Compass.